What's going on, everybody? Mark from CCO's The Science of Fishing. I'm here with Travis and Patrick from ICEY-TEK Coolers. We're going to talk everything from keeping your ice cold, how to keep your fish good, and how to get it going, guys.
You've landed on CCO's The Science of Fishing, where passion meets precision. Hold on tight as we dive in. But before we do, we would like to thank Sea Mule and Black Reef Co. for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you guys for coming around. I appreciate you coming to town and flying in for this. It's incredible.
I appreciate it. First time here in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, pleasure's ours.
How is it? How's your trip been?
Muggy.
Yeah.
Rainy and muggy.
Yeah, I get that. It's the weather in Miami is always I think we're in hurricane season still right now.
Yeah.
This is getting shot in October, guys. So we're you guys came at a weird time.
We were looking for that sun and that tropical. No.
Yeah.
Got the tropical storm, not the tropical weather.
Yeah, I know, but it's okay. I appreciate you guys coming down, though. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you here at the studio, and we're gonna talk all things ICEY-TEK. So let's start from the beginning. Where did ICEY-TEK start? From my understanding, you guys are the OGs before YETI, before any of these guys.
That is correct.
It's kind of like, people joke there should be a documentary called Cooler Wars at some point. I mean, it's just, there's so many rumors and, large fish stories out there. But the truth is ICEY-TEK started long before all the other rotomold cooler companies. So 1988, two guys, this is going to sound like a very familiar story. Yeah. Two brothers in Australia were trying to design a better cooler.
Okay.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
So anyways, they were starting to play with rotational molding, and the Thai had already started doing some rotational molding polymers, and they thought, well, let's develop a cooler. So they created a mold. Actually, this was in 87, but 88 is when they first started making it, and that started distribution in Australia, New Zealand, kind of the eastern seaboard of Asia. And in 1998, so it took 10 years of making this cooler and building a life to it. On its 10th birthday, it moved to the United States for distribution. So it was distributed out of Eastern Shore, Maryland, out of Salisbury. Gentleman owned it, ran a shop out of there, was kind of sold all over the country. And to our best of our understanding now, everybody asks, well, how did YETI white label that cooler? Because YETI's first 3 years was, they had a couple coolers, but one of them was a sticker on our cooler.
Oh, really?
And it was called the YETI Roughneck. So I actually recently just heard kind of as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. It was King Ranch that had our coolers, and still to this day is running our coolers on their hunt trucks.
No way.
Yeah, I just got pictures from this last Saturday. And they introduced the Cedar brothers to the cooler, according to them. Yeah. So it was kind of like, wow, so this is how that whole thing started. So that went on for 3 years. They went off to other manufacturing in Asia, as everybody knows, and that's the coolers today. But yeah, so we've been around for a long time. The brand, a lot of people go, well, we thought you went out of business.
Yeah. It
never went out of business. It changed distributorship, and some distributors worked really hard, some not so much. But at the end of the day, they didn't really have a website. They didn't have the social media following. And now look where we're at today after 5.5 years. I came in 2018, and 2019 I bought the company, CEO. And Travis and I and our team have now reached, as of yesterday, 277 million people on average on social media.
Wow.
And that doesn't count like TikTok, and we can get on all that later. But it's grown immensely. We've actually maxed out our capacity in manufacturing. We're working to manufacture more.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of great things going on.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, so then how did YETI kind of grow, and how did you, so you guys, from my understanding, you licensed to them for 3 years or something like that, right?
Well, I didn't. Yeah. I would have never done it. But the former distributor
guys.
did, yeah.
Right.
So from my understanding, Chris Gibo was the guy's name.
Okay.
He was from the Eastern Shore, Salisbury area, and he did a white label license deal where it was kind of co-brand. Well, we don't know for sure if it was co-branded, but if you Google search it, you gotta love the power of search engines, right?
Yeah, man.
You see a lot that had both names on it, so it would say like YETI, Roughneck, ICEY-TEK.
Okay.
And then it was just YETI Roughneck. So, I wasn't around then. I was in the military at that time, so I had more important things to worry about. But long story short, it's just kind of like, cool. It's a cool story, right? Like you're rooting for the underdog and bringing back the quality product that was lightweight and high performance. but we've also kind of like pushed to change the game and take it to another step. So
Right.
that's what we're working on.
I know you guys are coming out with a really cool product we can't talk about right now, but when you guys
Classified.
when it does come out,
Yeah.
you guys are going to blow the competition out of the water.
Yeah, it'll be a game over.
It's incredible.
For sure.
Yeah. So what's kind of the next steps for you guys? You got this new product coming out. What's your game plan to kind of, take the reins and be the king of coolers and cooler wars, man?
We've had a lot of very important meetings with the powers that be.
Powers that be.
We're
believe
going to
it.
keep that part of that. But, I like to strive for excellence. And I think a lot of people do that are competitive, patriotic. You want to do the right thing in a lot of different things. So we've shifted technologies to make just a far superior cooler. Like what people know, it's kind of like saying what people knew of the car back when it was Model T versus today.
Right.
And with today's technology and new polymers and new blends, we're able to develop products that, the days of holding ice for a week are just long gone. Like we're going to far surpass that. Super lightweight, jobs that are made in America. And that's what we're working on. So we have a big collaboration, but it's, we're trying to get ahead of this power curve, if you will, because in today's world, scarcity is a good thing because, people want what they can't have.
Yep.
But on the other hand, we're trying to make sure most people can have this cooler.
Right.
And, when it started off discussing manufacturing, we were like, okay, can we do 1 million units the first year? And then just in the preliminary discussions, those were already sold. And we haven't finished it yet. So they've just kind of, these are confidential conversations where they've seen that prototype.
Yeah.
And then it was 2 million. Then it was 3 million.
What are you doing now?
We're working on more.
Yeah.
It's just
Nonstop, huh?
Yeah. But it's all American jobs. It's all American
I was
distribution.
going to ask, where are your coolers made? Where's everything?
So the coolers have been still made in Thailand, the original coolers.
Okay.
We're working on manufacturing in College Station, Texas right now.
Okay.
For the new cooler. That material will also be used in other products that complementary to coolers that where you need them to hold ice and be durable. And so you can imagine a cup that holds ice for a week. It's
That'd
pretty
be pretty cool,
so,
man.
or hot. People like to keep that coffee. That's gross, but if you want to drink 4-day-old coffee,
bacteria, but
yeah, I wouldn't recommend that.
not hot, cold though.
But there's so much good, and we got into it for the right reasons, and our team has been so solid because we're focused on making a difference, making an impact. I got into this for a very simple reason. I came in to consult. I seen the product. I'm like, man, that looks like an OG YETI. I didn't know the difference, right? You educate the consumer.
Right.
And when I found out it was, and it was better price point, the distribution was horrible. I'm like, this is a challenge. I like a challenge. And
Sorry.
he doesn't always like a challenge, but he's really good at it.
Yeah.
So he can't say he doesn't like them. I'm gonna nudge him on that. But anyways, in 2011, I lost one of my best friends with SEAL Team 6, 90 days after the Bin Laden raid. No, please don't be, because, mindset is everything, right? So, the first few years I was really depressed, trying to figure out who I was, what I was going to do with my life. 2017, I attempted suicide. And after that, I was able to get my life together with some guidance and some help from some really great folks, and partner with his father, who started the first foundation for Gold Star families. So Gold Star parents who lost a son or daughter in combat are going to these healing retreats and getting the help they need, and the transition turnaround is phenomenal. So this mission for us isn't just make coolers and make money. Our money is going back to helping these folks. Nobody in this company makes a 6-figure salary. I mean, it's not even close, actually. I wish we could.
And you guys are selling millions of units.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's more about doing the right thing. I mean, trust me, this is a dream job. My clients call me and say, hey, we're going fishing. You coming tomorrow?
Yeah.
Travis, you got this? Yeah, he's got it. All right, I'm heading to South Texas. We're going offshore,
Nice.
So, where I have a job where we can make a difference, hunt and fish every day and raise my kids in the outdoors, what more can I ask for?
Right.
Yeah.
So is that what drives you every day for you guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So what gets you going? How did you get on board with this? He bought the company. How did you come along?
So I've known Patrick for about 7 years.
Yeah.
And been in the outdoor
You can get the mic closer if you want. You can, dude.
Throw it up here. Been in the outdoor industry for 22 plus years.
Okay.
Had some time at UPS, 14 years in management and marketing. On the marketing side, on the What Can Brown Do For You team. Left there, COO at Smoky Mountain Knife Works in Sevierville. Left there, built a gun store. Bud's Gun Shop and Range, and then kind of went on my own and started doing a lot of consulting and would talk to him every so often. And
I need help.
a year and a half ago, he called me with questions and kind of go through things. And so he called me in July of 2022 and said, hey, I've got some issues with what we're doing on Amazon. So I came over and, little bitty shop and kind of going through it. I won't even get into the details of what the shop was like.
We didn't even have a bathroom.
Yeah.
Really? Back then, yeah.
So, help him out a little bit. And I was like, we could really update this website. And I said, I do that. And he was like, yeah. So, we talked about it, went through it.
I think I paid you with a cooler.
You did. Really? You did. I actually felt bad about taking it. I mean, it was just, because I know their story. Yeah. And I know what they're trying to do.
Right.
And, honestly, it went from there. I built a new website, rolled it out in September of last year. And then it was, hey, why don't you come help me with some marketing? And where I kind of strive in this industry, in the outdoor industry especially.
Yep.
And said, okay, and started seeing the feedback, seeing the engagement, seeing that there really wasn't a fence around what we could do. And that's what kind of drives me.
Yeah.
Looking at numbers that are unmeasurable right now. So from my standpoint, I look at it and my motivation is to make this thing be everything that he's put into it. Truly inspirational from my standpoint and looking at it. So it is it is everything we want it to be. We're branching out in different directions from barbecue. Obviously, we've been in the fishing industry a long time.
Yep. We
are working on a license with Smith & Wesson to have a Smith & Wesson cooler.
That's going to be killer, man.
It actually kind of scares me. The feedback was way more than we thought it was going to be. And it's like,
good or like, what do you mean?
Can we make this many coolers? Like, it was that big.
Really?
Travis he's a real humble guy. Probably didn't pick up on it from what he just said because he's actually way beyond that. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll come up with a vision and then say, can you make this magic happen?
Right.
And he does. So if there's any headhunters out there listening to this right now, just know you'll have a bunch of SEAL team guys like, I'll make a call. Don't even think about it. But, he's one of those guys that can just make it happen. And we travel together. We do cohesiveness and a lot of continuity in what we do, because it's the military way, right? If something happens to me, I want to make sure things are still going. Something happens to him, I know what's going on. But, with him, it was like, I think we were sitting in Thailand back in March, and, I'm kind of like Rain Man when it comes to ideas. You'll pick up on it here soon. But we were sitting there, and I'm like, hey, man, we got to fix this social media stuff. I said, Facebook is... People go to YouTube to learn, right? Yep. Most of the time they'll go, how do I change the oil on this truck? Or, it's how do I this or how do I that? And then if they want to hear the newest products and the newest podcast, they're going to Facebook. Right. If they want to laugh for 6 seconds, TikTok, you know? So I said, we gotta diversify and split this up. But let's find something that works for all overall. I said, and what's the
cleanest
old humor in America? Dad jokes.
Right.
Right.
So I've seen some of your stuff.
So
this stuff's funny, man.
we launched it back again in March. We started it 2 years ago, actually. People are like, oh, this is great. It's like, go back 2 years and look at our content. But he sent it to our media team. We got a really great media guy, just like y'all do. And Travis sent it to him. And next thing we know, it's like, how many hundreds of millions of people did we just reach? And this has been in 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, this has been over the month of October.
What's your how many people
it wasn't
have you
March,
reached
it was
now?
September.
September. So I know we've reached about 14 million people in the month of October.
Wow.
And it's the 24th. So it's a crazy number.
Yeah.
It's an
guys are
unmeasurable.
killing
That's
it,
just
man.
TikTok.
That's just TikTok.
Yeah. That's killer.
So I think it was 320 million people in the last 2 weeks we've reached.
Yeah.
Or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Dude, those are you guys are throwing around big
We don't know how to
numbers, man.
measure
That's
those
weight.
numbers.
Yeah,
I
mean,
immeasurable.
What's your growth? And it just says 9,999.99% plus. I'm like, okay, cool.
So
we broke it.
The key is to, get everybody to understand and laugh, and laughter is a great tool to use in going through and making people feel better every day. And we're 4 of us trying to keep up with comments, keep up with responses, keep up with.
But your phone dies.
But your phone
Because
dies.
it's just constantly.
Are you guys just sitting there all day? Just
Yeah.
Well, you have to just put it down.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get productive.
you got to disconnect.
Well,
at
I
some
mean,
point.
we were at dinner last night and my phone died, and then
just from constantly vibrating from notifications.
and he had to kind of go through and get it set up and done. But we got an incredible team. Kudos to Nick and Will and what they've done and what they've been able to develop. And now we're going to take it and continue to move it. We've gotten Patrick when he's in town. We engage him and kind of go through what we're doing. We've got a new plan next week of what we're going to be doing with the trade show that we're looking at.
Can we tell people? I don't know when this airs, but can we tell people like what the next little series of dad jokes includes?
Yeah, you sure can. I mean,
So you said you've seen some of them.
Yeah.
So we, somebody made a suggestion on there, and I thought it was a great idea. So we went out and filmed last week, and we took some duck calls.
Okay.
I was like, here, hold that. Put it in your mouth, Then we told the dad jokes. And
And you were laughing with it.
have you ever heard of laughter through through a duck call?
they're honestly my favorite. I'm really looking forward to them coming out.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared because it's
It's
because we found out last Saturday
yeah.
we were the fastest growing business account TikTok history.
Yeah.
Really?
And it was like, oh,
Did they email you or what? How did you
they
guys
reached
find
out
out?
to
They
Will,
reached
or
out to
Nick,
Will.
and it was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then it was like,
Yeah.
like, it's cool. Like people,
Yeah.
he had a family member doing it. It's like everybody wants to have a viral video,
Right.
and you guys have had viral videos. It's like, okay, you did it, cool.
What's next?
Yeah, well, what's next? So
You got to capitalize on it and keep
right.
going.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny, and I preach on this to a lot of people's perception. Like we set goals, and you'll ask kids nowadays, or what do you want to? Oh, I want to be the CEO of that company, and then what?
Yeah.
I'm the CEO. I have goals above that, but
Right.
We push that in our culture at work. Is like when you set a goal and you now become the authority in it, have something beyond that. Like nobody ever says, "I want to be the best former president."
Yeah.
They're just like, "I just want to be the
Well, to
president."
put it in perspective, I mean, we set goals for ourselves and the team. We wanted to reach 1 million people this year in views. Okay.
You far surpassed that, man.
So
It seemed like a reasonable goal.
It was a reachable goal based on
Yeah.
history and based on what I could go back and see and say this is what we can do. And none of our ads are paid.
None.
Zero.
That's all zero ad spend.
All organic.
That's all zero ad spend.
Wow.
We've never spent
Organic.
a penny through social media.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm an organic guy when it comes to
Yeah.
Meta.
He's the Whole Foods of social media.
Yeah.
I can tell. Dude,
So-
he's killing it.
So we set it up and we set 1 million. So we hit 1 million in June, and then I said, okay. I think we can reach this up to 2. So we got up to like 1.7 in August, and then we had our trip in Thailand, and we were talking about how we've really got to get video more involved. We've got to do things because our content, our picture content, and the writing that we're doing and what we're doing and telling the story is spot on. And I feel really good about what we're doing from that standpoint.
Right.
And so, we did some videos and we knew they weren't up to par.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it and he pushed the idea and then just gave the reins to the guys and said, hey, you guys go do this, and look back and you kind of go through it and then you put the numbers together and you're like, there's no sense in even putting numbers to it.
Yeah.
I can't calculate a percentage on this.
Yeah.
So it's really unbelievable, and we're excited about what the future means and what it is. But I'm on to what we're doing in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I'm on to
That's all we're focused on.
I'm on to what we're doing next.
Yeah.
And kind of going through and being able to make people laugh and then tell our story in between.
Yep.
Obviously, we'd love to sell some product too.
Yeah.
And kind of going through what we're doing. We feel like that happens naturally and honestly organically.
Yep.
When you develop that relationship with people. The 3 of these guys have become semi-cult celebrities with all kinds of comments and all kinds of little fun statements in what they're doing. But it's good because
all good fun.
you get behind a brand that people, and we're real people, and we're not a company that what you see is what you get with us.
Yeah. That's why I have you guys here. I want people to understand who you guys are.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that because there's so many companies that say, "Oh, we're real people."
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, what are you doing about it?
Right.
And social media is such a great tool. Like you said, people want to know the people behind the brand.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, you say you're about people. I'm not gonna name drop anybody, but this is one of the things.
Man.
No, I'm not gonna, even though you're an attorney, but there's a lot of veteran brands out there that are not who they say they are.
I've seen. I'm not going to name drop
You
anybody
probably know
either.
who I'm talking about.
Know.
It's changed over time. They used to be, and then now it's like you're huge now, and
and you see like
everything.
How much did they give to charity? Oh no, we're this, and but then you look where their campaign donations. It's like things don't add up, and so for us, it's the transparency in what we do, and the quality products to the people. Like, I mean, how many times? I don't know if you guys, I'm not going to name store names either, but you go to like a big box store and you're looking for a product because you're trying to make a repair on the boat, or and it's just overpriced garbage.
Yeah.
That the reason it's being sold is because the margin is great and it's cheap Chinese made, and that's what you're going to buy. So that's what's available. But even though Jimmy up the road has an epoxy that'll fix that boat, that's so easy to work with in 20 seconds, but you'll never know about it because of the way the commerce and the consumer work. And what we do and the people we're working with is over the next 10 years is changing the mindset of the consumer and the way our commerce works here in this country.
Right.
It's not about buying the cheapest product with the best margin. It's about buying the best product.
Yeah.
And I don't think, other than apparel, there really is no other industry in the outdoor space that's knocked off so many times than coolers.
Yeah.
Because even in fishing, you have a lot of knockoffs, but there are a lot of different products. Where cooler is a cooler. I mean, it serves really one purpose: keep your drinks and your fish cold, or hot, in our case too. But it's just takes time. It's an uphill battle. It's not an easy road. Don't recommend you want to get into it if you don't have the grit to do it.
I'm not planning on it, man.
But if you're going to do the right thing,
some patience.
Be patient and buckle up. You're going to be broke. You're going to lose sleep. You may lose it all, but in the end, it pays off.
It's definitely a marathon for us and what we've been trying to do and accomplish, and it's fun to see some success and kind of go through and reach more people, be more well known in what we're trying to do from a branding perspective.
Yep.
And understanding that we're selling a superior product. And there's 28 cooler companies out there right now, and I won't name names, and kind of going through and doing it.
That's it.
That's what I track.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm just saying that are on the radar when you're going through and you're analyzing.
Yeah.
There's 28 and
28.
So 20 measurable ones.
Yeah. So you kind of go through and say, hey, we're telling the story. We're telling the story the right way. We're engaging our people, and good things happen when you do those things.
Right.
And when you get to know us as people, because ultimately there's 6 of us. 6, 7 of us. 10 total.
Relatively small. That's not a big team.
Yeah, we've got 8 full-timers and 2 part-timers.
Wow.
And then we've got reps and distributors all around the country, and then of course around the globe, but they're not part of our group. But
you guys have to wear many hats then, though. It looks like this is a topic of conversation a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know if people saw the video. I know I deleted it from TikTok. So I was out scrubbing the floors of this warehouse. We moved into a new facility, racked out total square footage. I think it was like 450,000 or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah. And middle of July in West Tennessee, it's real hot, real muggy.
Yep.
It's 120 degrees. And the guys were like, hey, we got to push, because we had one of those riding Zamboni machines.
Really?
Those are cool. Of course I want to ride on it. Like, get the hell out of my way. But the smaller ones where you have to like push, walk behind, but they're self-propelled.
Yeah.
Well, everything was racked, so you had to go into the racking. And I'm 6'6", right?
You're huge.
And a lot of the guys that work for us are 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, a little.
But they still
smaller.
had to duck under, their first level rackings right here.
Yeah.
So I said, all right. So I grabbed an office chair, and I squeezed the go handle, and I just rode behind it, underneath the racks, and it made a funny video. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "But no, you got to do it, whatever it takes."
Right.
So we have fun. There's a lot of days that just suck, but you got to have fun doing it.
Right.
It's you go out fishing, the water sucks, and it's raining. Hey, it's better than being in the office, right?
Dude,
so you're always looking
You
at
crack
the
a
positivity.
cold one and you're having fun. You know?
But there's a lot of days we'll call each other and just a lot of swear words.
I'm
but,
sure.
But we have a lot of fun, and you have to.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
We love what we do, and we love the industry. I couldn't imagine a life not fishing and being outdoors, and it's just, we've traveled to a lot of cities, big cities, and you talk with some folks, and we've got a show that we talk on and about the outdoors, and it's like when you talk to people who've never experienced the outdoors, you see such a distinct transition between their life and yours, and it's like, wow, you think maybe their mental health would improve if they
I think that
put
all
that
the
phone
time.
down and went
I'm like,
outdoors?
what do you do for fun, man?
Yeah.
What's your hobby?
When they tell you it's walk down the sidewalk of the main street and not the back alley,
Yeah.
it's like,
Interesting.
wow.
Yeah.
But that's, whether they're, it's a sociological reason why they're there or it's a financial reason why they're there. But, we have a lot of nonprofits that we support too that take inner city kids out fishing. Wicked Tuna guys, Paul Hebert, Dave Marciano.
That's awesome.
Anytime they call up, and they help us with ours, right? So he'll call us and say, hey, you're doing a benefit for this veteran or for pancreatic cancer. We'll donate a trip. So they'll put that in the auction. They're just great guys. And, with TV and shows, what you see is not always what you get. But with that show, what you see is what you get.
Really?
And, Paul really does laugh like that. It's like, but they're just great human beings. And that's what we want to champion. Great people we're going to take care of. And if you're not, you just won't hear about it.
Yeah.
But it's an uphill battle, man. But that's why I said we're grateful to be here with you because
I appreciate
we've got so much coming up.
Yeah.
And people are going to be like, who the hell are these guys? Even though it's been around 25 years, this is the first year we've been able to just take a little bit of a breath and start enjoying it.
Good. Good. Well, we're going to take a quick break, guys.
Okay.
A quick ad, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
In front of me, I have the Flushmaster by Seamule. This little device simplifies the process for flushing your engines. All it takes is 3 easy steps. Plug the hose into the device, plug the hoses from the device into your motors, and press on. That's all it takes to preserve the longevity of your motors, ensuring 100% clean water is running through them. So if you want to preserve your motors, go to seamule.com and go pick up a Flushmaster. Welcome back, guys. So, you guys have any good dad jokes?
Just went right into it.
Right into it.
I mean, you got one, right?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
What was your most viral one? How about that?
There's probably a few. Go back to the old OG ones because that's what kicked it off, really.
Yeah, that's what kicked it off.
What do you call a toothless bear? A gummy bear.
I like that you did the whole thing with your mouth, dude. You made it perfect.
You gotta, push for it.
Well, and part of what we tried to do with this from a branding perspective and from what's going on in the world right now, because there's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
We could have a 2-hour show about that piece of it.
Yep.
Is there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of laughter. And we're seeing so many people say, we're waiting for you to release these at X time.
Yeah.
And it's made my day. And, I'm going to say this, I peed down my leg, laughing so hard,
It's crazy how many people have bladder issues on our comments.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you tell us that?
It's a TMI, man.
Yeah, come on. But ultimately speaking, you're giving people something to look forward to and kind of going through, because all you're seeing here right now is a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, man.
And
Well, I can't even remember, like, from an entertainment standpoint, right? We talk about getting outdoors, but let's just say the weather really did suck, and we're like, hey, guys, we're not fishing. When's the last time a real funny movie was released?
Dude,
Like, I can't think of any since, like, The Hangover. I mean, that was 20 years?
they
20
can't
years
release
ago?
funny movies anymore. Comedy's been... You'll
dead.
get canceled with some of the stuff that...
well, I mean, absolutely. You go back and we were getting off the plane yesterday and walking through the airport, and all I'm thinking about is Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were talking
You know,
about
that's all I'm
That's the
thinking about.
early
And I'm
90s.
just, you know, kind of walking down thinking, you know, man, this is, I want to kick a box and, you know, just kind of go through it and talk with my butt cheeks. And, you know, I mean, it's that kind of
Why
humor.
can I see you doing that?
Yeah. It's that kind of laughter, though, and that kind of engagement that unites people and
Right.
gives people reasoning, makes their day a little bit better, and kind of going.
There's a
through.
lot of people that just aren't happy anymore.
Yeah.
And you see it everywhere you go. People are just angry. And my biggest pet peeve, you see it when we go through airports. It's worse in Asia, but this
Oh, dude, you just
walking,
people sit there.
and they'll walk right in front of you or stop, and it's like they're in their own little world, and that world's not here. And that's so
People
I
aren't
kind of want
present
to
anymore.
caution
No.
people, like, yeah, cool, you know, we're here on a podcast, we've got a viral social media, but life isn't just that.
Right.
Like, hey, cool, yeah, good luck. If you want to do it, good. But I can tell you, you're not going to feel any different after you did it.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, like, get outdoors, like, do something positive, and
And in the meantime, you're going through this. You go through, you scroll for 10, 15 minutes on your lunch break or on your break and kind of going through the day, and you don't feel better after you get through looking at it. So
People wake up and start staring, man.
Yeah,
listen, it's an issue.
Yeah.
So some of what we've talked about and kind of going through is, hey, can we make, you know, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute of your day better?
Yeah.
And going through, and we laugh at ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
None of us, we're serious as all get out. We're big boys,
Right.
and we're serious as all get out when it comes to business. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you can't laugh at yourself and go through and take yourself a little less serious,
Yep.
and
well, we all pick on each other. Most of us are, you know, not everybody, but most are former military or law enforcement. So it's like we've got that dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
We pick on each other, but if you don't have that in your life, you're not gonna develop that thick skin, or you're gonna take everything personal. And there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
there are so many memes floating around about things that we've done over the
Yeah.
course of years. It's, and all of us have them. I mean, we all have memes that we've all made as a team and kind of
Yeah.
going through and saying, you know, here,
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
some of it's really crazy.
Well, if you guys want to send some over, we'll put them up on the screen right now.
yeah,
They're cool.
yeah, I've got one
We
saved.
might
right-
need a new general counsel after that.
I've got one saved. Right here. I've got one saved right here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, getting back into what we're trying to do is, if we can make, you know, a minute of your day that much better,
Yeah.
what we've been trying to do on the social side, then
But there was,
great.
I do want to say there was method to our madness, right?
Right.
So it was deer blind dad jokes,
Yeah.
not elevator dad jokes, right? So what's our target audience in that avatar? The
hunter.
outdoorsman.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't want, you ate a fish. You know, we don't want those people.
No.
And they're, trust me, the fans don't want them either. But, you know, you can find creative ways to market and still reach your audience and build that audience. So, yeah, there's a business lesson
Oh yeah,
in there.
Yeah.
Kind of slid that in there. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, there's so much great stuff, and what you just walking in and seeing what y'all are doing. Like, there's
Appreciate
more
that.
people here I've seen in the last year doing this and making boats and doing stuff because people are tired of junk.
Yeah, dude.
And they're tired of import junk. And I won't name them because we're probably going to litigation, but there was an importer of boats recently, and somebody was buying our coolers overseas that were second grade and putting them on OEM on that boat. And then they call us for warranty claims. And I'm like, where are all these claims coming from? It was that. And I'm like, I won't say their name.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, we got to stop that. Well, one called to Customs Border Protection, got that shut down. But it's like, you know, people want quality. Let's get back to quality. Let's
Right,
get
man.
back to, like, you buy a hammer and it works. Like, it's not going to snap off.
Let's
the
talk
first time you
about
use
that.
it.
Like, what, you know, YETI is a name that's thrown around.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're a great marketing company.
Right.
Excellent marketing company. But, I mean, and I'm not going to throw any shade at Yeti for what they did, because they did exactly what they set out to do. They took a product, marketed it, and sold it.
Yeah.
Sold it to private equity, sold it to IPO, and went public for billions of dollars. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. The only issue I have is why are we continuing to send more money to a country that's causing issues for us, according to both political parties, that is a product that has gone down in customer satisfaction, a product that, quite frankly, is heavy, just empty as it is.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with rotational mold coolers, there's two ways that I'm familiar with that you can make them. One is what's called a single skin. That's every other product you've ever seen. You guys probably have one laying around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And what it means is they make a single wall. So the inside, the outside, it's all one wall. And then either where the rubber feet are or there's a little porthole with a plastic clip, and they inject polyurethane insulation into it and it expands like expanding foam. The issue with, let's talk about the benefit of that. Mass production. You're only making one skin. There's no labor. Squirt some insulation in it.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom. You're done.
Easy.
Crank it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
The issues with that, number one, the wall is the jig. So when that foam's expanding, the wall has to be so thick, so heavy that it doesn't cause it to stretch or expand. So that makes it heavy, very heavy. The second problem with that is cavitation. So you inject insulation in one corner and you expect it to go all the way to the opposite corner.
not.
It may not. So you might have the same cooler as Travis, exact same model, and yours holds ice for 6 hours and his holds it for 4 days.
Dude, I've heard that with my friends.
And you can't
my
figure
buddy's
out
like,
why.
My cooler, dude, is like, ice melts in like 6 hours, and mine is holding it for 3 days, like you just said.
Yep.
So that's what it is.
Cavitation.
That's
He has
So
a faulty cooler.
when you're going to do a single skin cooler, you've got to ensure that there's zero cavitation. Well, that's one of the things we're fighting with, we solved with the new cooler, is that it's not rotational mold.
Okay.
And rotational molding is typically more durable with the polyethylene than injection molding. Yeah. However, with the new polymers we're working with, it won't be. It'll be the opposite.
Okay.
So we've solved that problem. But with our old, I don't want to call it our old cooler because it's the original cooler, the OG. It's still the man as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's a dual skin. So we make the outside shell first, the outside wall.
Yeah.
Spray the insulation in. That goes into a steel jig. Then they put the inside liner in that is USDA food grade and the only USDA food grade inspected cooler in the world.
Really?
And then it's clamped into that jig. So the jig is holding the pressure.
Yeah.
The polyethylene walls are thinner, still durable. So when it dries and cures, they cut the excess insulation off that overflowed, hand weld and hand sand those extrusion pieces on, and it's a finished product. So there's like 20 to 30 man hours that go into even our little 25 quart cooler. Yeah. And in Thailand, I'll get into that in a second, actually, because that's a really interesting story. But that's what makes our coolers so light and so superior is that there's no cavitation. They're lightweight. They're thinner walls. We don't put rubber feet on coolers. Rubber feet were put on coolers really to cover the holes where they inject the insulation.
Not for anti-slip.
Well, it sounds like a good reason if you have to fill the hole, right? Let's put a rubber foot on it.
Yeah.
But anybody who's had a big cooler, and we make big coolers, the biggest coolers. So if you got we make up to 1,100, but let's just say you had a 270 quart cooler full of ice and a fish, and you had to transfer that from boat to truck. Not that you would. But let's say you're out hunting. Let's change the scenario. And you have an elk, and you've quartered it out, and you want to get that in your truck. Can you imagine putting that cooler on your tailgate with rubber feet and having to get it all the way up under the cab?
It's impossible.
Push it. Ours will slide right up in there. You tie it down with the tie-down straps and the clips. You're done. That's it. You could drag a full cooler full of ice with one rope through the lawn, through the gravel, and it's going to slide.
Easy. Well, I have a question for you. What's your price point compared to theirs?
About 25 to 30% cheaper on the smaller sizes, and it gets higher the bigger you go.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 25 quart all the way up to 1,100 quart.
Wow. So you're beating them on price and quality.
Right.
Yeah, because I think on the 25 quart, what is their MSRP now? $250 or $299? No, Yetis.
Oh, $279.
Yeah, so we're 20%. Wow. Almost. No, 15, somewhere in there.
Still.
But a lot lighter. And
higher quality,
yeah.
cheaper price. Wow.
And that's full MSRP retail.
Yeah.
Well,
we always got a little special.
Yeah, and we've tried to come out with some, reintroduce some new colors and going through working with the factory and what we're trying to do. And,
yeah, that purple didn't last long.
So we're trying to get creative and kind of going through, because when we do order, it's not like you've got a warehouse full of one color and kind of going through it. So they're limited.
Yeah.
And limited edition. And, we'll have that same problem when Everything works with Smith & Wesson. There'll be limited edition prints on top of coolers.
That'd be cool.
And that's one thing that we've done a little differently. In June, July, we bought a printer in house, and I'll let you.
Yeah, it's that new. It's like UV printing, but it's a high temp regulated UV printing. So I think it's 1,400 degrees. Heats it up, clear coats it, so you can't even sand it off.
Really?
So the old ways, you either put a decal on it, which vinyl tears and stickers fade, whatever. But or you had another system. I won't say their name because they're real proprietary. That puts it kind of like a tattoo in the substrate, but they were fading, and they just you see them now, and it's like chunks of it'll come up missing.
Yeah,
you can't fix it. So we found this technology. We had played with it. We did some test runs. Mm-hmm. We actually did an order of coolers for Number One Tequila for Ron White, the comedian.
Okay.
And sent those out, and we were so pleased with them. We ended up buying the equipment, and we could have bought a really nice boat, but we bought the printer instead. And
but that's in house now.
We can do. I mean, we're not. It has to be reviewed, but I mean, we could print full resolution color into that cooler. Like if you want your face on there, like Steve-O,
that's pretty cool.
We could do that.
Yeah.
But now it's the corporate gifting world has just opened up. And we had some orders just too big. I mean, if you're calling me wanting 2,000 of the same cooler, I can't do it right now.
Right.
Oh, we could next year, but this year I can't. But if you want 100 for Christmas gifts or corporate gifts, we could do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, by the time this episode airs, you guys may be able to already.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
But we do want to get back to the Thailand thing because this, like I said, it's where it all started. And I don't always bring this up on a show, but I feel like your audience can they'll relate and understand to this because it's important to me. And I think after some documentaries that recently came out, it's important to everybody else. So the way our factory operates, and it's been around for 35, 36 years, is it's in northwest Thailand or northwest of Bangkok. It's a little town called Pathum Thani. And if you're familiar with what's going on in the world, which 99% of the country here has no idea what's going on. Yep. There is a civil war after a coup in Myanmar, which people refer to as Burma. So over there, the Burmese will say, well, this is Myanmar. Some say it's Burma. But the problem is there's the war. And there was a war before there was a war. So all they've known is war. You had eradication by the monks. There was a radical monk group that was just committing genocide. And so a lot of women and children that aren't going to fight are fleeing. So they have to cross the river and get into Thailand and try to find safety. You had the same problems in Cambodia for many years. And a lot of the guys from the military, especially the SF community, Special Forces and the SEALs, know what goes on over there. And there's a lot of nonprofits like Free Burma Rangers. I'm not going to get into all of them, but long story short, a lot of these women and even children are taken into human trafficking, and they're sold through China and other countries. Thailand is kind of like the golden land. It's the America for a lot of southern countries from here. So if they can get there and get safe, that's the goal. So we work with NGOs, nonprofits over there, and we averaged about 30 per trip twice a year. And it doesn't sound like a big number, but it really is, of women that we save and give them jobs. So when we can get them in, you got to build their trust, right? There's a language barrier, and they don't speak Thai. We don't speak, very little Thai. It's kind of funny listening to him speak Thai.
Yeah.
We won't
we'll
put that on camera.
Another episode. But anyways, we've been able to save in the last 2 trips 60 women from human trafficking. Their kids get education, healthcare. They built a beautiful. It's kind of like this back wall because that's the back wall at the soccer fields, as they call it, football. They have a beautiful, beautiful soccer field that's brand new, and it's kind of like luxury to them because they've never had healthcare. Some people never had soap. Wow. So to help these people for years before I was even in, the goal was it was a stepping stone to get on their feet, save up money, get the healthcare, the education, learn Thai, go on to a bigger job. Yeah. But loyalty, since COVID has changed, there's people that just like, I'm very happy here. And they don't want to take risks anymore, right? So COVID took a lot of risk taking out of people's lives. So now we have a kind of the issue of like, okay, we either need to make more coolers or we can't help more people because there's no turnover. And while that's good for us for quality control, it's not good for the global economy. Yeah. So, the big thing with our coolers is we're not slave labor like some brands.
Yeah.
I won't say who, but
that's great on you guys.
Helping refugees is that military side of what we signed up for. And like I said, a lot of people don't want to talk about it because it's like
it's a touchy subject.
Well, and it's really until you see it. And we have filmed some over there a little bit, and we've kind of gone back and forth of
and you got to be careful
how to share this and what to do and what we're doing. But when you're there and you're in the moment and you see the difference and you see the quality that goes into 7 different women touching our product and touching the product and going through and looking at it. And that's probably a low number, but the quality they all go through because they want to make it right. And then they get done and you're like, man, I mean, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
And, it's inspirational from the standpoint that they take so much pride in the work that they do because of the situation that this has allowed them to be in and what's going on with that piece.
So put it in perspective, 6 years at the helm, this is the first time I've talked about it on a show. Really? Because, and I'm going to tell you why. We talked about filming what we do over there. The problem is it feels yucky. It's like, hey, look at us. Look what we're doing.
Right.
So we didn't do that. And also to respect the privacy of the women.
Right.
But back in March, because we were just there in September. So back in March, which was your first trip.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the meeting, Travis is seeing how, because he's been on full time for just over a year.
Yeah.
And this was his first time to see that effect. So that, he had probably 35, 40 women that had lined up in a line, knowing me and what we were doing, and wanted to thank us. And I'm like, no, we love doing this. Yeah. But they lined up crying and wanted to bow to Travis, and I watched him just start bawling, and I'm like, that's why.
That gave me chills, man.
Yeah,
so it just got chills, dude.
The reason why I'm putting this out there is you can help. Yeah. You can buy a quality product, and it's not a sales pitch. It's look, there's women over there that you're saving their life, and it's a vehicle to do it. You're not just donating money to charity. You're buying a quality product and helping us do it. Yeah. And we can do that while still creating American jobs. We're not getting rid of the old cooler. That's here to stay. It's always going to be here to stay.
Dude, you guys got me sold now. Like, dude, I love what you guys have going, man. I didn't know that there was all this behind the company.
I mean, it's hard to market that, and before, what was that documentary called? I couldn't watch it because I've actually worked in that field before. Sound of Freedom. Yeah. So when that came out, I think people opened their eyes more to, wow, crap, this is real. Like, it's happening here in the U.S. even. Yeah. And there's some things we're going to be working on to prevent that here in the U.S., but it's a dangerous world. It's you don't just wake up one day and be like, hey, I'm going to get into this. Well, you're going to get threatened.
And
I'm sure there's
and when having us telling the story, and it's the first time we've kind of said this story out loud. Yeah. I mean, at least on air and kind of going through and doing it, that when you purchase this product, you're helping a group of guys that are just normal guys, vets.
You're helping Gold Star families.
Gold Star families.
American jobs, human trafficking.
But you're also helping some ladies with some children over there.
And you're crippling. So like everybody right now is hearing of Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS. Well, there's another group called Abu Saif, and that's in Eastern Asia through Singapore, Indonesia. When you take away their power, you take away their control, and this
you guys ever
reduces
been confronted
terrorism.
By them while you guys are there?
I mean, we never know who's who, but personally, yeah, we did back in March. He got his first taste of reality. I'm like, we're going to roll. Yeah, it was a bad situation. I won't get into the details, but it was like, I looked at Travis, and I started off in intelligence in the military, and then I was a DOD contractor. I got to work with the SEAL teams and do, I'd say, fun stuff to like the outsiders looking in. To me, it was kind of boring, but I was really aware because we did a lot of training on this kind of stuff. And when it happens, there's certain things you notice that are picking up, like, hey, you're starting to get followed, you're starting to get cornered, you're starting to get profiled, and then all of a sudden they're about to strike. And I looked at Travis and said, we got to go.
Yeah.
And we were about to get kidnapped, actually, is what it was.
Holy
so
shit.
I said, all right, we're gonna
and
jump
we're bigger
and run.
than 99% of the people that
you
are
guys
over
are
there.
You just
6'6". How tall are you?
6'2" and a half, almost 6'3".
But you guys are.
He might weigh more than me though. But
I can bench more
but
than you
it's
too.
real it's real world stuff. Yeah, I can.
You went into the mic for that one, man.
I'm gonna make that real clear.
But yeah, I mean it's real, and you got to be ready for it. I mean, we don't go over there armed, and it's not like the military where you're like, all right, we're ready to go. We got plate carriers and weapons. No, it's like this. Well, we're in shorts, but
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yeah.
So
Hotter than Miami, man.
It's similar in some ways. It really is similar in some ways. But I mean, we were talking about when we got down here and eating lunch yesterday and walking around a little bit and just taking a break from things we were doing at work. That this is the reach we can hit. This is what we can do, and continuing to kind of go through and tell our story. And it's a great platform. And like I said, we're super honored to be here with you guys.
I'm honored to be with you guys. I mean, what you're doing is incredible. It's inspiring, and like, I'm never gonna buy another YETI again.
Thank you.
But
Dude,
we
I mean,
want you to have it and then go, yes, that's what I get it now.
Yeah.
And that's our saying that I changed 2 years
You
ago.
guys sent me a cooler, and I thank you so much for that. I
Well,
really, I
we
really
can't help the
appreciate
FedEx
that.
issue. We
Yeah.
don't own
We'll
FedEx.
get it worked out.
You'll get it worked
here.
out. Yeah, exactly.
But dude, I'm very appreciative of that. I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to throw fish in it. I can't wait to
You're
take
gonna
it
love
to
it.
the beach and
gonna
crack some
love
cold ones with my boys and have a good time.
That's why we changed our motto. Well, created our motto
Creator model.
2 years ago for those who get it.
Yeah.
You either get it or you don't.
And you have to.
I'm not here to waste people's time and be like, well, I love my whatever. Any cooler. Okay. A Chinese shareholder company with Chinese manufacturing and Chinese distribution and Chinese logistics. Okay.
Do you?
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm not here to fight with you. Nobody's ever won an argument ever by arguing.
Right.
Yeah.
Politics never
people need
changed
to
by
learn
yelling.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
man.
And we don't sell iron skillets.
You just slid that one in there, didn't you? It's funny because
leave it there.
there's certain competition that's trying to get into food sport and culinary, and we're partnered with the National Barbecue Association.
That's cool.
We sponsor like 25 barbecue teams, 15 world champions. Wow. When I say sponsor,
You're
to
decking
us,
them out.
no,
No?
they buy the product and just love us. Yeah,
That's
so
cool,
people
man.
people
That's
have
freaking
asked me
awesome.
like how much, because we're poor country folk, really. I mean, we really are, because our money goes right back out. People are like, how do you get on Wicked Tuna? How do you get on Swamp People? How do you get on NASCAR? I've never paid for any of that.
It's just genuine
It's
connection.
organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you saw like Ross Chastain at Bristol with the NASCAR that said ICEY-TEK,
Yeah.
and I was there, everybody's like, man, what'd that cost? $1 million will you sponsor me? I'm like, I got $5. And they're like, you're an asshole. And I'm like, no, we didn't pay for that. Like, these are just good friends and good people.
You build connections. I mean, I could tell you guys are genuine dudes. Like, we should go have a beer after this. Like, I know it's like 11 a.m.
Everybody
but
wants to make a difference. And,
man. I mean,
put your money where your mouth is. And we're not asking for charity handouts. We're just going to make a product. And, I've used this reference as a joke, but it's serious. What's that nonprofit everybody complains about the clothing lines and they go to stores?
Got me on
Not
that
Salvation Army. The other one.
one.
No.
sure.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
we go
I
drop
think
your clothes off at Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Okay, this might ruffle some feathers. So let's get
It's
your
okay.
viewership up, right? It always does. So people complain about Goodwill stores. Like, man, they make so much money. Their CEO makes so much money. Okay, if Goodwill was not a 501c3, they could not take free clothing donations. Think about that.
Okay.
So if they couldn't take free clothing donations, they couldn't subsidize and sell the clothes for $1 at underprivileged communities.
Right.
They still work a job. Now, can we debate how much they should get paid? Sure. But you know what? The dude that created that idea that helped underprivileged communities get access to clothing and stuff, hey, if he wants $10 million, you just helped all them people. It's kind of like saying, if you want to do something, you want to start something, you have family members, like, you're going to fail. You want to start that company, you're an idiot. You're going to fail. A billionaire, a millionaire, and a business owner are never going to fault you for starting something or trying somewhere.
Right.
So I look at us as the opposite of Goodwill. We are for profit, not a nonprofit, but we operate in a philanthropic way.
Right.
So it's kind of the comparison, right? So like to follow the laws set by our tax code in the U.S., if your people are going to accept donations and get tax write-offs, you have to be a nonprofit. Nonprofit, it means 501c3 in that situation. The problem is it doesn't mean charity. Right. It's tax codes. But the uneducated, and I don't like to use the word ignorant because people take offense to it, but tax code doesn't mean charity.
No.
It means nonprofit. So without that law, Goodwill couldn't do what they do, and you wouldn't have clothing and accessible products. Now, same thing on us. We don't take donations. We make product. We hire people, so we're for profit. But unfortunately, until we really blow up, nobody's making a big salary.
Yeah.
Not even me. And it's like, we work because we love it. It sucks sometimes.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I've always, and I've been in the branding world for a long time, but I've always
We're probably your lowest paying employer.
I don't even want to talk about we won't talk about that
you,
on here. Anyway, I've always told my clients, and I've always told people in the industry, you know, you can love your product, just don't be in love with your product.
Right.
And this came along, and it's just killed everything that I've ever stated for the last 22 years.
Yeah.
Because I love this product, and I'm in love with the product, and I'm in love with the mission. And
that's why I gave up that big salary.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here now.
Couldn't do without
and so, you know, it's an inspiration overall. It's an inspiration, you know, just kind of going through and, you know, you guys reached out to us, and we fired back real quick.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's just what we do. It's who we are as people. And, you know, it's fun to be a part of something that, you know, man, he's always got my back, and kind of going through it, I've always got his back and what he's doing. And, you know, that doesn't come along very often.
Right.
So we got a chance to make a difference. We got a chance to have a good time, get outdoor, fish a little more, hunt a little more, just maybe have a day off one day.
You guys are doing God's work, man, and you guys are enjoying your life. Like,
absolutely.
I genuinely believe that. I mean, I'm a believer, and I just like, dude, this is incredible what you guys
Without
are doing.
him, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And
all credit to him, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been surreal. And, you know, look, there'll be good days.
Yeah.
You know, we know one day there'll be a day when we can reap some of those rewards, but right now we're having fun, and that's what matters.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah. Even we had a crap day yesterday. There's no other way to put it. Just a crap day.
Some days are.
Just dealing with things
go
you know,
wrong,
things go wrong, and things out of your control, and you're just kind of going through it, and you're just like, you know. But,
how did we just lose that $500,000 order?
Yeah, and
Jeez, really?
we go through it. We have dinner last night, and, you know, we're just sitting there, and we're both food junkies for the most part, him more so than me. And we just...
don't tell people that.
Yeah, we just enjoyed it. And we're like, you know, my phone died, and I'm like, okay.
Screw it. Yeah.
Good.
We just had to make sure we had enough for, like, Uber to get back.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you good on your phone? Yeah. But, I mean...
Turn off all notifications.
You know, but you wake up the next day, and you're like, refreshed, energized, ready to go. And, you know, and all of our teams basically the same way. I mean, they all wear different hats. They're all extremely talented.
The secretary ops manager, when you walk in the door, is a retired SWAT commander.
Whoa.
From Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. So, I mean, that
dude's ready to roll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he'll roll you.
Yeah.
But he's the nicest gentleman, and he's in it for the right reasons. And, you know, we've got a sales director who's former Marine. Big boy. You know, but he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. You know, just... great family, but
give the shirt off your back. He is
do anything for him too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're blessed. We've got a great crew, great product. It's almost like a fairy tale when people like hear about it, but it's just it's been the underdog.
Right.
Still,
you guys are doing it, man.
So we're grateful to be here, and
absolutely
without y'all, it wouldn't exist. So it takes collaboration and teamwork, and that's what we strive for.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're on the science of fishing. We're going to talk now about how your coolers are killer for fishing. So what kind of applications are they used for? You know, do you guys have them in the commercial setting? Do you guys have them in the recreational setting? Obviously the recreational,
Yes,
but
both, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
to both.
So in the commercial setting, you know, like I said before earlier in the show, we make the biggest coolers in the industry.
Yeah.
So that 1,100 quart cooler with the fork pockets underneath it, you know, 4x4x4 cube. A lot of the
that
shipping.
big blue cube on a lot of those commercial boats?
No, we're bigger than those.
Really?
You're talking about the fish toes.
Yeah.
Those can range anywhere from 600 to 1,000 quart, I think. Ours is 1,100. So when you're shipping shrimp, like dead loss is way lower. I mean, they pay for themselves. They're not cheap. They're a few $1,000, but they pay for themselves.
Makes sense.
The 680 quart coffin cooler box, you know, unless you're going out for massive bluefin, they're going to fit in there. And you can put a lot in there, right? So in the commercial space, yes. In the consumer space, of course. We've now OEM'd with just this year, 6 new OEM manufacturers? Wow. We just did Camus Offshore just signed with us.
Nice.
MIAC just signed with us. We're talking with Mowdy right now. What was it? Shoalwater. Pescador came on with
You guys
us.
are killing it, man.
Oh, yeah. We're replacing everybody on OEM. So
That's great.
because it works. Yeah. Now, on the smaller side, learn something new every day. A couple of years ago, there was a gentleman who was really whooping butt in the Crappie Masters. Now, we don't partner with him anymore, but he was using it for his bait box. Well, then he was also using a 25 quart, maybe it was a 40 quart cooler for the crappie. Now, up there, they run oxygen, straight O2 in their coolers. Yeah. Well, it gets real hot in West Tennessee, and you have to turn those fish in live or they don't count. Well, there were several events, and his fish never died. The only person to never have dead fish out of hundreds of people, and everybody's running O2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did that happen? And he's like, dude, is it that inner liner? Like, why are they living? I don't know. I really didn't know. It took Gary Mason, the founder of Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame. He's a big conservationist, outdoorsman, fisherman, fish with Bill Dance, all those guys. And he looked at it. He goes, I know why the fish aren't dying.
Why?
The inside corners are not square. They're
So they're able to
rounded.
swim around.
So they can't suffocate in a corner.
Yeah.
When you're on pad and they move to a corner, they can't suffocate. So the gills open freely, the fish are living. So even as live wells, which a lot of people don't use them for, but the pros do.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're just not going to make, there's a couple people who made videos putting those coolers together with O2, and they're on YouTube, but nobody's really taking the time to make a great one. And I don't freshwater fish enough, nor do we have a boat anymore. I sold my boat. Oh. But it's
We had bills,
it's amazing how they work for freshwater and saltwater. Yeah. So no stainless hardware. Hinges are external. But the big thing, and I'm going to stress this enough because this is every consumer and private fisherman's gripe, our latches are UV resistant. So they're not rotting and falling off. The dual skin, you don't get that wear from the mold line like a YETI does or an Arctic. So the latch doesn't pop. I've never in 25 years of the company and the 6 years I've owned it had a warranty claim for latches, ever.
That's incredible.
On a 5-year warranty.
Wow.
Yeah.
So those UV resistant latches, it's a real soft rubber.
Yeah.
It's flexible. I've seen coolers where you can't even open them or close them. They're so stiff, and they use a cheap rubber.
Yeah.
These were American-made Southco latches. I think they're made in U.S. and Mexico now, but quality is everything in that latch. Now, the other cool thing about our Legacy cooler is if you're out fishing, you're out there offshore especially, it's a rough day. People fall. Things happen. Every other cooler brand in the market, if somebody falls and busts that lid at the hinge, you broke the mold of your cooler, the cooler's done. If you break the hinge on ours, it's an external hinge. You can change it out. We always sell replacement parts.
Well, that's cool.
So you're going to invest $2,000 in a big cooler. Yeah. And let's just say a wind just really rips it and somebody falls. Yeah. You don't lose the cooler. You can poly weld the hinge back on, put the screws in it.
Repairable.
Yep, comes with a kit. Yeah. You're good to go.
That's awesome.
Now, I do recommend you find somebody that can do a little polyethylene weld. There's plenty of plastic welding places around marinas. And just get them to redo that bead weld for you instead of using silicone, because silicone's not going to be as strong. But, dude, it just save your investment. Right. And people kind of get upset with us from a finance standpoint. They're like, well, don't you want to resell coolers from? No, I don't.
No.
I'd rather give them quality.
No. Right.
There's plenty of people.
And they'll come back. They'll tell their friends.
And I can't tell you the number of emails that we get and we both get them every single day of, hey, I've had a cooler for 7 years. I've had a cooler for 10 years.
They last longer than TVs, and people still think like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, it should last like 30 years. Your TV lasted 10. You know, you paid more for that.
Yeah. And
Most TVs don't even last that long now.
exactly. But people just are like, I've loved it. I want to get another one.
Yeah.
What sizes? I want a different size this time, and kind of going through it. You know, we've got some split lids now that are available in stock, which is definitely helping us.
And divided boxes.
And divided boxes, and kind of going through some bigger sizes, and then obviously adding some colors. Most of our color is really 150 quart on down or 200 quart on down, and you know, people want some color and tired of the white, and a lot of times
Gray has been really popular.
Gray has been
charcoal gray.
Charcoal gray's been on top of it. When we get yours here, and hopefully it delivers today.
Yes, sir.
And kind of going through and doing it, you'll see one of the colors we rolled out, and kind of looking at it. So, you know, you want it to match up your boat and what you're doing, and we're giving you those options.
That's awesome.
So it's not just, you know, going back to the white cooler and, you know, this is what you're looking at and what you're doing.
And the big thing too, like, again, I don't want to reveal the cards here, but with the new cooler, we're working with a lot of recycled polymers.
Okay.
Because coolers are one of those SKUs.
So you're environmentally friendly too.
It is, and we got to start cleaning up. Like, ocean plastics is real. Like, we've got those dead zones right here in the Gulf. I mean, it's real. Well, other coast, sorry, I'm on the East Coast today.
It's over here.
But yeah, you got dead zones in the Gulf, and you can't argue that. There's no fish, none. There's no sea life, nothing. So, you know, when you look at coolers, people buy coolers new. Where, like, you'll buy a vehicle used, you'll buy a TV used, but you don't go on like Marketplace and look for a used cooler. People don't do that.
I've never done that.
And it's like, you think about how many polymers are just being thrown away, or worse yet, it breaks offshore and you just have people that don't care and they chuck it overboard. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we want to focus on the recycled polymers, but it's just, at the end of the day, I'm not worried about the resale, because people don't like to buy, you know, you don't go buy plastic cups from your neighbors at a garage sale. You know, you're like, oh, that's kind of gross. But just like a cooler, you don't know what they've had in it, even though we all know you can clean it. But it's one of those things people buy new. And good for us that, you know, that inside liner I told you, you can take real fine steel wool. Say you do a crawfish boil, right? Stain it red. Yeah. Makes it look brand new. Really? You can sand those right up, clean them up.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm not talking like elbow grease. I'm talking like this. Yeah. And it's brand new again. Wow. So closed cell polyethylene makes a big difference. Okay.
That's cool, man.
Little things.
Yeah.
It's little things.
Yeah.
What's some of the biggest fish that you guys have put in these coolers?
Well, it's not a huge fish, but I almost beat the state record in Texas for red drum back in the spring.
How big was it?
45 pounds.
Dude, that's
it filled the length of a 170 quart cooler. It was a good catch. I was with my buddy Joey Smith. He runs a charter down there on a Mouty, so we were running real skinny. Yeah. And we got hit in the jetties, and the bulls came in, and then, man, it was game on. Really? But for offshore, I guess I was more of a quantity guy, but we were out there for blackfin the other day and just slammed them. So we put 34, I think it was 34 blackfin, and I want to say it was a 170 quart cooler.
Filled that thing up. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a freshwater guy, and we'll fish a little bit on the pontoon boat. I'm just be up front. Don't get as much time off as I need to fish. Yeah.
We're going to fix that.
I don't know if you noticed the stare or not. But ultimately, you know, so I've got a 55 quart and I've got a 40 quart that we put drinks in and holds everything I've got. And it's a 1995 pontoon boat. It's got a 40 horsepower engine on it that might go 5 miles an hour. Yeah. When I get on the water, I just want to
just cruise.
Just cruise and relax and fish.
And I'm gonna reveal the little secret elephant in the room with me. I'm gonna tell him myself. Like, when I said we didn't have money, I was poor. I didn't even have a house. I was homeless, actually, when the first year of the company.
Oh, my goodness.
I started off, and no joke, like, get out. If you want to get outdoors, get your mind right. I went to Walmart. I think I spent, back then it was maybe $12. I think there might be 20 now. Little slingshot rod. Go out to the lake and just sit there and hit bluegill, brim.
Yeah.
fillet them up, fry them, make some sandwiches. So, I mean, $20 and go dig up some worms. And you can go take your kids out for the entire day and have a blast. There's so many back lakes here in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
For $20. $20.
That's all it takes.
You can fish all day.
Yeah.
All year.
Yeah.
And get a little hoe or a shovel and dig up some worms, find a board, flip it over after it rain. It's so easy. There's no, like, if you really need $20 because you don't have it to get your kids out fishing, talk to your local church or local outdoor company. Yeah. They'll probably help you out. Or they've probably got fishing rods laying around.
And there's a lot of good nonprofits down here that help out the community and give kids fishing poles and take them out fishing. And I know that Captain R.J. Boyle down here, I believe his nonprofit's Mission Fishing, and they take people out. I believe, I don't remember what it is, but I know he takes kids out and takes them fishing on the charter boats, and people donate their boats. And
we'll get him in touch with us so we can help him out.
Absolutely, I will. Yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely help him out.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
So, I want people to understand, like, when they're watching shows like this or watching us on our stuff, and they're like, man, they got these expensive boats. Look, you can get out and have this for $20.
That's all.
Just take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, keep your fish, take them in, clean them. It's not hard. It's so much fun.
The best memories of your life, I mean, some of my best memories of my life were just going to the pond on my grandfather's farm and fishing. And, we didn't even take a cooler. We just put them in a basket or put them on a stringer.
Yeah.
And
that was it. No ice, nothing. It's just
and
later, man.
And then we'd fillet them there and clean them there and eat them there. And
that's how I started fishing.
It's so basic.
Cork rod.
Yeah, it's so basic, and it's so forgotten right now.
Right.
There's so many other distractions in life. I didn't have this growing up. I'm a little older than both of you. Just a little.
That's all good.
But at the end of the day, I'm thankful I didn't have this.
Me too.
Dude, the phone sucks, man.
It does.
It sucks.
And it's my life, my livelihood, and what we do, and it's everybody's livelihood.
Dude, I mean, yeah.
So you look at this and you just go,
use it.
Yeah, you look at it and go, God, I don't want to look at you right now.
But now those great memories, like I've got 2 boys, and then my youngest, like hearing him squeal when he's got that fish on. That's such a great feeling. And when he has that feeling one day, because like now it's like, oh, they caught a bluegill or a little largemouth, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can't wait when I start putting them on black drum and red drum and tuna, and they're like, my arms are sore.
Strap them in the chair, strap them in the harness, and get them on a big blue fin. Dude.
Yeah. I found out my limit was the 34 blackfin one night. I always was one of those guys that thought I could fish forever. Like, I'm that guy, if you hooked up the big tuna, I got
You're going to sit there for 2 hours.
I'm a man, toxic, whatever. I don't care. But 34 blackfin tuna from 9 p.m. till I think it was 4 in the morning, I finally quit. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I remember the last one hooked up. It hooked up. And all I could tell, you know how you tell yourself things? I'm like, just pick up the rod. Don't fight it. Just pick up the rod. I couldn't pick up the rod. I couldn't lean back. I couldn't move. I'm leaning up against the rail, and I'm like, nope. Little help. Grab the bean bag. I'm out.
Cold, man.
I found my limits. Well, I was done.
Dude, that's a lot of tunas in one night, man. And they're not like
those
fish, dude.
Those little suckers
they'll wear you out.
You're like, oh, well, that's a little tuna. When you pull them out, and there's, it's like they're seizing. They're moving so fast.
The tuna wiggle, baby.
And you gotta go quick too, because where we're at, we go about 100 miles, 120 miles south of Houston. The sharks will hit them. Yeah. So you've got to get them up quick.
High drag, crank them in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just, well, I couldn't lift my arms for like 2 days.
I literally like that. I'd love to get on a bite like that, dude. That's sick, man.
It was fast.
I haven't been on a bite
to get it down. We were trying to shoot. I don't know, it was only like 40 feet down off the rigs, just trying to get them down.
Yeah.
But then once it was on, you had 20 seconds tops to land that, or you were just bringing the head up.
Dude, the sharks they're a problem everywhere, man.
Yeah, they are.
It's insane.
And look, I understand why they are. We've stopped the shark fishing, the fins, and all that stuff. But unfortunately, there's eco balance, and we have to get back to eco balance where conservationists has become too political. We have that problem in even Tennessee right now, where harvesting of gator gar is illegal.
Aren't they everywhere?
No, gator gar you can hunt pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
And they're good eating too, but you get gator gar up into the freshwater because they'll adapt saltwater, freshwater, and brackish water. They'll destroy an ecosystem as an invasive species. So we're miffed in Tennessee going, why is our state protecting an invasive species?
Yeah. We have that problem here with a bunch of like the pythons.
Pythons, the snakes.
Dude.
They're protecting them now?
So they're not protected, but from my understanding, in the Everglades and a lot of those areas, you can't have recreational hunters go in there and get them. There's a special program that they do. And
that's what some of our guys from Swamp People do now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's become political. It's become okay, this is my biggest pet peeve. Okay. And don't hold me to the numbers. Hog hunting in Texas. Okay, hogs reproduce, I think it's every 21 weeks?
Yeah. It's crazy.
And don't quote me on any of these numbers because I haven't had this argument in probably 3 years. They reproduce, they have litters of 6 to 8, whatever it is. Somebody's going to be commenting on here going, no, you're wrong. But it's multi litters a year.
Yeah.
The problem is the agricultural damage just to the state of Texas every year is already in the billions of dollars annually. So what did we do? Well, we found, people will pay thousands of dollars to come down here and hunt them from a helicopter. And I love doing it, don't get me wrong. But the problem is we're getting guys down that can't shoot. And just so folks at home understand, these are open ranches. Like nobody's dangerous. There's not like a house down there you have to worry about. But the problem is now the season for helicopters runs from kind of December through, we'll call it early March, because that's when the canopies are clear, the leaves are off the trees, and you can see out on those ranches. Yeah. So the problem is these big guys will come in here, spend big money, and we're not taking care of the problem. Yeah. So the wild boar, people say, what's the difference between a boar and a wild boar? One's inside the fence, one's out. Yeah. Because once they get out, start eating trash, start breeding, reproducing, they're feral. And
you know what a boar is? Like originally, it's a pig. Yeah. So those little cute pigs that we have in our house.
They elope into a different inbred hog of trash diet.
I think I was listening to Rogan. He was saying it takes like 6 days or something for them to start growing the hair. The males start getting the tusks, and then they become like just
that's the only difference.
It's that cute little pink pig just becomes
transforms.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's like gremlins.
Yeah, man.
You fed them outside the fence. That's what happens.
Dude.
But so when people don't understand how much damage they're doing, so if you're a vegetarian, they're damaging your food supply so bad, that you literally would wipe out over a period of I think it's 10 years, the entire green crop, vegetable, agricultural, out of the entire state. It's that large of damage. I mean, it's a phenomenon. Again, don't quote me on that exact number. Yeah. Somebody's going to be on there and be like, no, it's exactly this. Okay, but here's the thing. We have now capitalized on an industry that is failing. Yeah. And if we don't do something about it soon, you're not going to have any other food supply. And it's worse than food supply. There's so much more to it. But again, it's kind of like fishing. Bow fishing was great for eradicating invasive species. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. That got shut down in a lot of different places for tournaments because they're like, oh, that's unethical, this and that and the other. But nobody else is coming up with better ideas to eradicate invasive species. And now we're protecting them.
There's a disconnect between the fishermen and the hunters and the political parties and the conservationists.
100%.
Well, we're at the days we talked about earlier off camera is that nobody wants to have a conversation because people don't know how to anymore. Yeah. Where you listen to both sides and go, okay, you have a problem. I understand your concern. Let's find mutual ground. And especially in the last 10 years, especially since COVID, people don't know how to communicate and interact with people on a social level other than this.
They just read something online and they're like, oh, that's true. And I mean, I'm at fault of that sometimes, but it's like people don't know. You're right.
And it's like one of my favorite ones to listen about is like African safaris. Yeah. Man, you get something in Africa, you're going to get ridiculed. But what people don't understand is you're usually set up by that local tribe to call an animal that's killing off the entire tribe. Yeah. And you're feeding that entire not tribe, but the village and their commerce, but you're improving the health of all the other animals. Right. So that's their eco balance, because back in the day, they hunted for food and they would hunt the one that had the least impact in the community. But the problem is now we have we have folks who are like, look, we plants, we don't want animals getting hurt. I can respect that. That's your choice. I can respect that. I don't want animals hurting. I'm about ethical hunting, ethical fishing. But on the mutual ground, you can't say you're vegetarian, but everything that's required to keep that food in our food cycle, you need conservation.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes that means killing animals.
we have to discuss that. So, and in today's world, those animals that you complain about are the number one emitters of E. coli and ethanol to our ozone and to water supply, which is causing the algae blooms and fertilizers to keep all these crops healthy and safe. So we've created the USDA, and we've created food regulations that require all these, pesticides and all this, because it has to be safe for grocery stores. And, you wanted safety.
Yeah.
Well, now you have algae blooms and killing off sea life because we have to run so many pesticides and fertilizers. And even every farmer now has to be licensed to operate in pesticides and herbicides. So you've created your own monster, and somewhere in the middle, nobody wants to come to the table and talk about it.
We're really good about creating our own issues.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we just have to solve them, and then we
create an issue off that issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it compounds.
So if we can teach people one at a time, like going back to quality product and how to communicate and laugh and we're trying to bring it back.
Exactly.
And it can be done if you have an open mind. Laugh a little bit. All the jokes are all clean, good humor and fun. And
PG.
Your kids can listen to them, But that's how it used to be. You've heard a joke, you're like, my grandfather used to tell that joke. It's so lame. But think about it. That was 40 years ago, and kids today never heard those jokes.
No.
And
He's trying to bring them back.
Nick was asked one of those jokes by Will on camera, and it was like an old dad joke, and I don't remember what it was. I even told one the other day, and I was like, what's the best part about telling dad jokes? And he's like, what's that? I said, sometimes I make him laugh. And he didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're telling your dad jokes, he might laugh.
Yeah.
But it's so new to them. It's like, remember in the 80s and 90s, bell bottoms made a comeback?
Oh, yeah.
And Jenga jeans and all that stuff.
Well, I grew up with hee-haw. So, talking about slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
And you're looking at me, you may not even know what hee-haw is.
I do.
I know
I don't even know what
Grandpa
that is.
Jones, baby.
Yeah, Grandpa Jones, exactly. A lot of your listeners probably don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But that's the original slapstick comedy of going through, around dad jokes. Yeah. And kind of having
Grandpa Jones wore bell bottoms.
He did wear bell bottoms. So we've lost sight and focus on really what's important, and we're trying to bring a little bit of that back.
I love it, man.
Let's get our food supply back. Let's get healthy organic. What's better than catching a fresh red snapper? And we did this not too long ago, and making fresh ceviche on the boat, taking a cracker out there, having that fresh raw ceviche, and then going out there fishing all night.
Nothing beats that. We do that with the blackfin. Fresh sashimi, man. You got some wasabi and soy sauce, and
ready to go.
You can't eat more fresh.
Dude,
you can't eat more fresh.
More people need to start doing it, man.
We're gonna do that for lunch today. Word.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming down. This conversation was absolutely incredible, and to learn about your company, learn about what you guys are doing, God bless you guys. This is absolutely incredible, and ICEY-TEK is the way, man. That's the way from now on.
I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah,
we're still goofballs too, but we appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, whatever we can do to help you all out, please let us know. You guys at the Science of Fishing here in Center Consoles only. So
I'll tell you what we'll do is on your screen, look right down below. There's a promo code for them. Use that promo code and save yourself some money on an ICEY-TEK cooler.
There we go. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for joining us on CCO's The Science of Fishing. We hope that this episode was helpful and you learned something for the next time you're wetting a line. Before we cast off, a special thanks to our sponsors, Sea Mule and Black Reef Co. Stay hooked by following us on social media at Science of Fishing and hitting the subscribe button. And if you know someone who'd enjoy this, don't hesitate to share. Until we meet again, catch 'em up.